Okay, we are live. We are live on Zoom, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So, guys, today we're going to do a quick LinkedIn profile makeover. This is the quick and dirty couple of simple changes that you could be making on your profile today that can make a dramatic difference. So take notes, listen in, and know from the very beginning, couple things. We have an upcoming 9-day totally free LinkedIn masterclass. Carrie will drop the link in the Zoom, maybe drop it over in LinkedIn. But if you're watching me from Instagram, you can go grab it in the handle up above. Today is just a little peek behind the curtain of a little bit of what our students who register for the full 9 days are going to get, right? So today we're going to talk about how you can turn LinkedIn into a lead generating machine with a couple of minor tweaks that you can make today. I think how many of you guys are already on LinkedIn? Let me know in the chat how long you've been on LinkedIn. Let me know how long you've been on LinkedIn, and let me know how comfortable you feel with LinkedIn from like a 1 to a 10. How comfortable do you feel on LinkedIn from a 1 to a 10? I want to see in the chat so I know who I'm working with here. All right, a 7. How many of you, especially those of you probably streaming over on Instagram, are like terrified to like be active over on LinkedIn because you're not sure how to show up as an entrepreneur because maybe you've made a pivot in your career. Maybe you've only used, how many of you have only used LinkedIn in your career as a W-2, and now you're trying to figure out how to pivot and leverage LinkedIn as a service-based entrepreneur. And maybe you're feeling a little like, how do I get started over here? So that's what we're going to talk about today is how do you show up as a service-based entrepreneur on LinkedIn and not an employee, because there's a huge difference. So I'm going to start actually very simply with your banner. Okay. Nothing says employee more than a drab blue banner. Okay. So if you're a service-based entrepreneur and you are still showing up on LinkedIn with a drab blue banner, your first assignment is to go to Canva, very simply, go build yourself a colorful LinkedIn banner. Why is this? Let me back the bus up for a minute. Your LinkedIn profile is literally your virtual business card. Okay. It is your virtual business card. I love having you guys do this. If you Google your name, 99% of you are going to find, if you Google your name on the first page of Google, your LinkedIn profile is going to show up. And the question is, do you like what you see? And is it allowing ideal clients to lean in and get excited about what you have to offer? And I really like to propose this idea of your LinkedIn profile as being that virtual business storefront. If someone were to literally walk past your virtual store, how would they feel? What emotions would it elicit? Would it attract your ideal client? And I can tell you right now, a drab blue banner does not, right? So the first step is really fine-tuning that banner. Without getting into a ton of detail, you want to make sure the majority of the content is kind of heavier over the right on the banner and not the left. And that is because you want it to be useful when people use their phone. And what you'll see is your actual profile photo sits up over the left side of your banner. So if you spend hours making this beautiful ornate banner, but a lot of the like punchline and graphics are heavy to the left, and then you go upload it, and then you go check it out on your computer and on a mobile phone, you're going to be wildly disappointed at how it shows up, right? So you want to kind of shift more of your content in the banner over to the right now. We change out our banner. That's the other thing. Depending on what you're promoting, what you're marketing, what you're working on, we have kind of a stand-in banner that's my personal brand, Burnout to All Out, that you'll see throughout the year. But we're in the middle of promoting something, it will be super branded and on point with what we're promoting. So I'm not there now, but I can bet if I go look at my LinkedIn banner right now, it's actually promoting a masterclass that I'm hosting next week with a call to action, right? And that's temporary. And then we'll pull it off when we're done with that time-bound event that we're running, right? So know that you can play with it. Also, make sure you're using contrast and colors, right? We do profile audits inside of our LinkedIn, inside of our academy where we actually look at this, but you want to make sure that you don't have dark colors on dark. You're going to have to play with it. You want it to punch. You want it to stand out, right? And get your dimensions right, right? So your banner, write this down. Your banner is your billboard. Like your banner is your billboard. So spend time on it, right? Don't be afraid to even it's something you can hire out. You can get, some kind of someone in the graphic space to really help you make this look really, really nice. Now, your profile picture. Here's the thing. I want to say this. The adult attention span is what? 2 to 3 seconds, right? So we want to make sure in 2 to 3 seconds, your profile is allowing you to lean in and people wanting to learn more about you, not lean out. And you also want to make sure that you have a lot of brand recognition. Your profile photo can be a huge brand recognition piece, or it can make you look like you don't exist. And here's why. If you have a photo of yourself on LinkedIn, first of all, some of you don't be this person. Some of you have this great photo of yourself, but you're attached to someone else, but you love the photo of yourself. So you've cut that other person's head off. So unprofessional, right? Get rid of it, right? Get a good, crisp photo. Stand in your power as a business owner that you are. And this doesn't mean you need to pay $1 kajillion with a photographer. iPhones do a great job. Lighting from a refrigerator works really well. Open the door to your refrigerator, take a good photo with your iPhone. You also want to make sure there's contrast. So you see, those of you, well, all of you see me, but you can see that I've got kind of darker hair and then there's a white behind me. You want to make sure your profile photo, there's contrast. So if you have really blonde hair, don't have a backdrop that's light, right? And here's why. That little bubble that's your head follows you everywhere. It follows you everywhere. So the more contrast there is, the more brand recognition there is. For the longest time, I wore a pink, bright jumpsuit because guess what? Not a lot of people wear bright pink on LinkedIn. They love to wear dark, boring suits, which blends in with everyone else, right? So what can you do to stand out? Also, make sure your head takes up a large majority of the photo, right? Because if you go onto LinkedIn, just go through the feed and you can instantly, now that I've told you this, identify people's photos that stand out versus you can't even tell who they are, or that it's a photo of them from 30 years ago in college by their ex-girlfriend, right? So those are a couple of tips there. It's just and then 2.0, if you want to get super savvy, is coordinating your banner and the colors in your banner with what you're actually wearing in your photo. Because remember, that photo overlays your banner if you want to really look professional and look the part, right? All right. Now, the next thing is your headline, okay? Your headline can make or break you. These are the leading descriptors for you on LinkedIn right underneath your name. This is not something you see as a function on Instagram or Facebook. And I love this about LinkedIn, right? Here's why. On Instagram and Facebook, you'll notice my name follows me everywhere, but that's it. In order to get any more detail about me, you actually have to go to my profile on Instagram or to my profile on Facebook and read a little bit, right? Whereas on LinkedIn, your headline, the first 7 words, this is golden, you guys. We have people in our masterclass, again, that we're running next week for 9 solid days, that literally by changing their headline, it changes their leads and they're closing deals next week. It'll happen. I'll get messages from people that are oh my God, I changed these 2 words and I just landed a $20,000 contract. I can't make this shit up. It happens every time, right? Here's the thing. Your headline, the first 7 to 8 words, depending on how large the words are, actually follow you everywhere on the platform. Why is this important? Because it is real estate. It is marketing. And where a lot of service-based entrepreneurs get it wrong is that they have their old employee mindset with the headline and they're trying to showboat with their headline. So what do I mean by that? How many of you are guilty of using your headline to lead in the first 7 to 8 words with being best-selling author, podcast host, keynote speaker? These are all descriptors for your ego. right? I'm going to say this one more time. These are all descriptors for your ego, and it's actually not attracting your ideal client. You want to lead in the first 7 to 8 words with something that really sucks your ideal client in, that says, I'm curious about that. Do you think podcast host or keynote speaker creates any curiosity this day and age? No, you're just stroking your own ego, right? But if you lead with a headline that creates curiosity or speaks to the transformation that your ideal client can experience through working with you, now they're going to want to lean in and learn more. Why is this so valuable on LinkedIn? Because it follows you everywhere. It follows you everywhere. This is a strategic tool we use to this day, where we strategically go comment every single day over on LinkedIn where our ideal clients and ideal influencers who have ideal clients are, and we're commenting and we're engaging. And why does this matter? Because what happens when I comment in a feed of 20 to 30 to hundreds of people in the same conversation in the comment section? What actually happens? Those 7 to 8 words are following me over there. Those 7 to 8 words are being seen in the chat section. Every single week, without fail, this is Attraction Marketing 101. Without fail, I get requests to connect from strangers who say, hey, I saw your headline in a comment section with so-and-so, and it created some curiosity. And I went to your profile and I love what you're doing. You guys see what I'm saying? That headline creates so much traction if you nail it, right? If you nail it. So if you want to learn more about that, we're going to actually give examples, share our screen. Next week, actually next Friday, we're going to do full profile makeovers and audits with a couple of students who are actually in the masterclass. So make sure you register so you can see that. Okay. So couple of other things. You can, believe it or not, use emojis in your headline. Some of you are probably like, what, really, on LinkedIn? Guys, it's 2024. Who doesn't use emojis? Who doesn't use emojis? Do you want to look like the stuffy, boring use of LinkedIn and the way it used to be used? Or do you want to use it more progressively like the average human communicates today, right? So don't be afraid to use some emojis and get some traction. Now, another really cool feature. How many of you know about Linktree? Know about, I know like over on Instagram, you can use Linktree up in the bio section. It's a hyperlink where you can drive traffic to a live link, right? So the really cool thing about LinkedIn is that it's not just for premium. On the top of your profile, you can create links to websites, drive traffic to book a consult, right? And you can alter it. So if you go to my profile right now, what are we promoting? Our totally free masterclass next week. So what do you think is on my profile? We're using the hyperlink to drive traffic to register for it, right? When the masterclass is over and the doors close, we'll pull that hyperlink down and put another link up. We have an upcoming live event in Austin, Texas in October. We'll probably put that. And Alejandra, I hope I get to see you there, actually. Oh no, she's not coming. So we'll put that link up. We constantly are changing that link depending on what we want to drive traffic to, right? So this is like a powerful, powerful tool at the top of your profile, right? Let me see, a couple other things you can, there's definitely software out there where you can actually change the font. Like LinkedIn gives you specific font that you can use. But there's actually software out there that you can bring really fun font to the headline and allow you to really stand out, right? Now, another thing I want to hit on with LinkedIn and your profile is the featured section, okay? So I'm going to skip through the about section and talk about the featured section, and then I'll come back to the about section. But the featured section, because I'm streaming live a lot of different places, I'm not going to pull up my screen right now, but the featured section is where you can archive. Again, LinkedIn and your profile can be a standalone website. For those of you who are getting started and you haven't built out a website yet, the featured section, again, we pick and choose the order of the featured section. It's a series of places for hyperlinks where it's permanently on your page, meaning It's always there until you change it, right? Where people can go click and be brought off the platform, right? So for instance, a couple of weeks ago, we were running a social networking event, and we had a hyperlink in the featured section there. We also, we'll always have a link to our website, right? Occasionally, we'll have links to other things that we're running. We'll open the doors to our mastermind in the fall, and we'll have a link to apply, right? You can join the wait list kind of thing, right? So the thing with the featured section is you want to prioritize with priority what you want people to see first, because in the series of featured links, as you go over to the right, you start to not see them on the screen, and they have to know to scroll over, right? So you want to prioritize what is the most important in your featured section. Okay. So those are a couple of things like that I absolutely love as far as like features of LinkedIn that make it really a standalone website and highly discoverable on Google. Now, as far as your about section, again, we're going to, in our masterclass next week, I'm going to take you through a Mad Libs. We've got a workbook where you'll be able to really actually map out your value proposition and getting started with your profile. But just to get started with your profile in the about section, again, adults have the attention span of a gnat, right? If we start our about section on LinkedIn, like we did as an employee, what do people do as employees? They write in chronological order of their careers, right? They're like, back in 1990, I was a lab technician at Duke University. And upon completing that, I moved into blah, 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 right? In chronological order backwards. That is the quickest way to lose a lead. That is not how we use LinkedIn as service-based entrepreneurs. The way we have made millions in lead generation, and the way that I was single-handedly able to create $1 million in revenue in less than 19 months with not a single dollar spent on ads through the power of LinkedIn. How did I do it? I was a disruptor and leveraging it as a service-based entrepreneur and not an employee and not a B2B. I was there marketing to people who maybe they weren't on the platform for what I was marketing for, but I was able to drive traffic to my page by what's the word I want to use? Pleasantly distracting them on LinkedIn, and then being like, oh, I didn't even know I needed that, right? And then pulling them into my page and down into the funnel, right? And so on your about section, as a service-based entrepreneur, you need to lead with either their pain point so that they jump out of their seat and say, yes, that's me, right? So lead with the hook, lead with a power statement, lead with a question of, have you ever, right? But you need to meet them where they are, which is the complete opposite of the typical LinkedIn employee user who wants to tell you their career history in chronological order. Unfortunately, I see a lot of service-based entrepreneurs do the same thing. They will still tell their career history in chronological order, and then somewhere amongst the paragraphs, you find what their current service is, right? No, we want to start with being a solutions-based entrepreneur. We want to start with speaking to their challenges and a vision for how you can teleport them from their challenge and barrier today and their desired state in the future. Right? Now, it's not that your business history and success is not important, but it comes later in the profile after you've sucked them in and they're like, oh, David knows exactly what I'm going through. I'm going to keep reading. Oh, wow. John has a signature method to actually solve this problem for me. Oh, okay. And he's been doing this for X number of years, and here's his past experience, right? So, an example of this is one of our previous clients worked specifically with women of color of high net worth who were misguided and misdirected in their investing strategies in the financial space. And she starts with their pain, right? With their challenges of being a woman of high net worth without necessarily the knowledge to invest and not being guided in the right direction. And it's so powerful how she speaks directly to their challenge. And it's not until you get to like the third or fourth paragraph, she actually talks about her past history as a VP, as a financial advisor, and like all the reasons that she is the expert that she is, right? Those are like validating facts after you've sucked them in the first place. Is this making sense? Okay, awesome. Also, just don't afraid in your profile section. And again, we're going to get into the depths of this in our 9-day masterclass next week. You guys need to register if you're not registered. Is don't be afraid to create white space in your profile. Gone are the days of reading a resume of just text over text over text that takes up all the space in the profile. I highly recommend that you segment it out, you create bullets. Don't be afraid to use emojis with checks, right? Some of you may run multiple businesses. I know I do. This is why a personal brand is so important, and leading with that personal brand. And then in your profile, being able to bucket it out. And so that if you've sucked them into your profile, you can make it easy for them to scan and find where within your products and services it makes sense for them to work with you. But if you've just got a sheet of paragraphs, no one's going to read through it, right? No one's going to read through it. Okay. Lastly, a call to action. Make sure in your summary, you aren't leaving the summary without telling them exactly how to connect with you. Is it a book a consult with the arrow down to the featured section with the hyperlink, right? Is it an email? Is it a text? Don't leave them hanging on how to connect with you after you've gotten them all the way through your summary page, right? Make it simple and goof proof. For some of you who have capacity, you can literally make the book a consult call at the top of your profile as your hyperlink. So it's super discoverable, right? But you want to make sure, or maybe you just ask them to send you a message in the DMs, right? Invite them for a conversation. Okay, guys, I hope this was helpful in getting started and really scrubbing your profile, maybe shifting your mindset just a little bit. And again, I just want to reiterate, just as a reminder, don't compare my middle to your beginning. We talk about this a lot with the marketing team. And that is, here we are 5.5 years in, I think we're going to do 4 to 5 million this year, right? So we're 5 years in, we're going to do about 4 to 5 million. Yes, we pay for ads now. We have the financial capacity to do that. The reality, though, is that I never would have gotten the momentum that I had to be where I am today and be an anomaly as a business that hit $1 million in 1 year of revenue in less than 3 years, being in the top 5% of all small businesses, had I not started with the power of lead generation with LinkedIn that had the best return on my time as a small business owner. I hope this is making sense. I chose to spend my time recruiting clients on LinkedIn in a wide open blue ocean that's not saturated, that there's not a flooded market, and there's wide opportunity, instead of, as a startup, trying to compete with the masses on Instagram and Facebook. And quite honestly, as you get to know me, you'll know, like, I'm a serious businesswoman, and like, I mean business, and we are the utmost professionals, even though I like to say potty words. We get to business and we drive business, right? And the idea of spending days on end dancing to reels and trying to time stupid shit just to align to get into the algorithms for people to hear me just felt like a huge waste of my time. And so for me, I made the personal commitment in the first 19 months of my business to totally hunker down and learn LinkedIn and spend all of my time on LinkedIn with my blinders on, with no noise with the other platforms. And I focused on growing my business. And I focused on growing my business exclusively with LinkedIn. And with less than 3,000 people in my network on LinkedIn and less than 600, get this, Instagram, with less than 600 on Instagram, we did $1 million in revenue, right? Now, as we got to become $1 million+ a year company, we started diversifying our lead generation and investing in ads, right? And starting to stack our social media channels. But to this day, I will say it till the cows come home, for small business owners with limited time, right? And a budget that's not going to afford you to spend thousands upon thousands on ads, I am a huge proponent of getting started on LinkedIn because you're going to get the best time for your money, and you're not going to have to post more than 3, maybe 4 times a week. And you don't have to pair it to anything trending. You just need to be your authentic self and be what I call a thinkfluencer. I would much rather be a thinkfluencer who's bringing value to a platform than an influencer that's gaining a huge following, but just by chasing trends that aren't impactful, right? So if you're looking for an authentic way to grow a business and feel that you're in congruency with who you are as a business owner with really efficient time management, you guys have got to lean into LinkedIn. You've got to lean into LinkedIn. Huge opportunity. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed this little mini session on LinkedIn profiles and how you can make them over. And would love, if you've not registered yet, would love to invite you to my masterclass next week. We're going to be going for about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half every day, 5 days. And then we have bonus sessions through the following week. We just do this a couple times a year. You can catch the replays. Don't worry. I know if you're a successful business owner, your calendar's already full and you're not going to be able to just drop everything to show up at noon. You can catch the replays. Okay. But they do all come down when we're done with the masterclass. All right. All right, guys. Hope to see you all next week. Thanks for showing up, my Zoom friends. And we'll see you on the other side, hopefully. All right. Bye-bye.